Okay, I think we can start. Hello, everyone. My name is Beata from University of Szczecin. Today is 29 of April 2024. We have a lovely meeting about rethinking personal financial money management. This is extra course seminar for students from the University of Szczecin. I have big privilege to introduce two very important persons. One of them is Valentino Sabuco. Valentino Sabuco is Executive Director of the Financial Awareness Foundation. He is from States. He is financial advisor. He have a big knowledge in area of financial literacy about personal financial management. And I'm so glad that Valentino would like to share his knowledge and to be with us. The second important person is Peter Nyarko. Peter Nyarko is Executive Director of Center for Financial Literacy Education from Africa, Ghana. He make a lot of things in the area of financial literacy. If you would like to know, please come to for example, YouTube, and you see how many things, how many activities he makes in Ghana. And this is privilege to have two gentlemen, and also welcome my students from University of Szczecin, mostly from two courses. One of is from personal finance and also financial economic decision for household. This is the course which is established in semester summer semester 2024, and I have privilege to speak with you in every week. And this time, this is the extra seminar, and I hope you will enjoy a time with Mr. Valentino Sabuco and Mr. Peter Nyarko. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Today's presentation is going to be fast-paced, and it's important to get the information in front of you. But before we get started, I'd like each of the students that are online to mention their name and what their career paths are. What would they like to do when they graduate from the university? Maybe we can start off with Julia.
Julia, are you with us? Some of them may be afraid to speak English because this is not the students who study in English, they study in Polish. For some of them, maybe it is the first occasion to speak in English. Maybe some of them is afraid, but I think it's a good possibility to improve the language and also to improve the knowledge about personal finance.
Yeah. And if they can't speak in English, they could speak in Polish. And if you'd be kind enough to translate, that would be nice. We'd love to understand what interests everyone has.
She speaks something that she's here with us, but she's the first time on the Zoom and she didn't know how to unlock microphone. And she say, please give me a moment. Yes.
So just have her click on the audio button and it will give her a mute and an unmute. There should be a button
on the
there
left
for
side.
audio.
On the left side, you see it's a microphone and also is the camera, and you unmute your unmute your phone. I show on the chat. Where is the place? Is this the left corner? Yes, but Valentino, I think we can start. Maybe later will be possible to speak with the.
Okay, I think I get it now.
Oh yes, perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
so can you repeat the question because I forgot?
Oh, sure. Please say your name and what is
Julia.
Julia, what is your career path? What would you like to do for a living when you graduate from the university?
I think I want to be a developer and anything with real estates. I think that's my career and I want to do it.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Who else would like to share? Susanna, would you like to?
Czy ktoś jeszcze chciałby powiedzieć, co planuje po skończonych studiach? I jeśli jest problem z językiem, można napisać na czacie. Ktoś z nas, myślę, że postara się to przetłumaczyć. I speak in Polish and I ask them if anybody would like to say something and they're afraid or they have a problem to use. Maybe they can send a message via chat and if it's possible, say in English. If not, please say in Polish and I will try to translate it.
That's great.
Yeah.
We can try this at the end too. So today's presentation is going to be fast paced, but don't be concerned if you don't grasp and fully understand the things that we're sharing. It's intended to create awareness for you and motivation to learn more about personal financial management. We're recording today's presentation so that it could be viewed later. There's translation tools for the recording, which could help you. Also, in the materials that we're sharing, we have links and a gift for you at the end in publications, all of which can also be shared using a very special tool called Google Translate. You can translate the videos, you can translate PDF documents on it. We'll put this into our chat here. In case people didn't see that. It's also recorded on a couple of the slides, so you can see that later. Our presentation today will talk about some of the challenges that we're all facing, not only in Poland, but globally. We'll introduce you to personal financial knowledge and walk around the FA Affinity Lifelong Learning symbol and share with you the gift of personal knowledge and try to get you started on development of your own personal financial plan. To start with, has everyone taken the financial literacy quiz assessment? Professor Beata, was this able to be shared with people in advance?
I didn't send them because it was in English, but I hope in the end of this course they will know a little bit more about this tool and maybe one of the students decide to translate and it will be in Polish also and also in English.
Excellent. And this is also something that please feel free to share with your family and friends to see how financially aware and literate they are. We've been sharing this assessment with people around the world for the last 25 years. And we find that the majority of people that take this assessment answer about 10 yeses out of the 20 questions. Which means they're not really current with their finances. And this is important because not being current, if the wrong thing happens at the wrong time, so to speak, it can be devastating. It can be very harmful. So we hope this can create some awareness. And then with this awareness, we can learn better ways of dealing and managing finances, which is what we're going to be trying to talk about today. To start with, let's take a brief look at some economic data revolving around Poland. Poland has a population of about 38 million people. It's got a gross domestic product of $688 billion. Do you know what gross domestic product means? That's a totaling of all the products and services a country produces. And then when we have a GDP per capita, that is the equivalent of what each person in that country is attributed to from the total. And so the GDP per capita in Poland is 18,700 US dollars. Poland has an employment rate of 59% of its population. It has an unemployment rate of 2.7%, which is very low in good. It also has employment in agriculture of 8.4%, which is very good for developed countries. Many of the underdeveloped countries where poverty is an extremely high level, it has over 50% of the workforce in agriculture. But the farmers aren't educated to produce the quantity of crops and quality to feed everyone. Big global problem. The poverty level in Poland is about 11.8% of the population. The portion of people in Poland classified as being at risk or social exclusion is the lowest, third lowest among all European nation countries. Poland is in much better shape than many countries, but we are experiencing a lack of financial awareness along with financial illiteracy epidemic worldwide. Unaddressed, this creates a huge, huge problem. We can see on this slide, which is a economic research brief we did for a recent international webinar, where you can compare how Poland's activities are with other countries around the world. You can see how this can affect on a personal level with household incomes and GDP per capita, on job opportunities, on an ending hunger and inherited property in those countries. On the business level, how to increase sales and profits so that wages can be higher, business opportunities can grow, and how countrywide economics can have sustainable economies and keep violence at a low level. You know, right now with what we're doing in concerns that we went through with COVID, and now the wars, not only in the Ukraine, but in the Middle East, this creates a lot of concern for all of us worldwide. And we cannot predict the next global challenge, but we can predict that there will be another big crisis, and we're all going to be involved with it. The world will have a negative impact. So how do we protect ourselves? One way around this is better personal financial management. The presentation we're providing today is our gift of personal financial knowledge, and it shouldn't be considered as specific tax, legal, or any kind of professional personal advice. Participants are encouraged to seek their own financial service professionals and advise them directly and personally. The presentation is an educational, improving financial awareness and literacy, sharing of knowledge. Peter, tell us about what financial literacy means. It's a term that we're using around the world, but what is the real meaning of this term?
Great. Thank you very much, Valentino. And I welcome everyone onto today's webinar. So when we talk about financial literacy, then we are talking about the understanding and the effective use of a set of skills and knowledge, the essential principles of smart money management, and which is the foundation to personal finance. So it's one's ability to use knowledge, use skill sets to manage one's financial resources now and in the future. And it's also about attitude and behavior and how that can translate into sound financial decisions. So for us, we see financial literacy from two perspectives. So first, you need to get yourself organized. You need to get financially organized and then move to financial planning. And so we have what we call the foundation to financial awareness and financial literacy, where we talk about getting financially organized. We look at organizing your paperwork, inventory what you own and what you owe. That's your net worth. We talk about managing cash flow, understanding your employment benefits. Once you do this, you have gotten yourself financially organized. Then you move to the second aspect, which is financial planning, where we look at defining your personal and financial goals, planning for financial independence and retirement, planning for major expenditure, investment planning, tax planning, insurance and risk management. And then we also look at estate and gift planning. And we believe this empowers an individual to make wiser, informed, lifelong financial decisions. It also helps to work more efficiently with financial professionals and product providers to get the best results from time and money. This will also help you get and keep your financial house in order by having a current financial estate and gift plans. It will also help you to pass on your values, your knowledge, your assets to future generations and charitable causes to help you make this world a better place for all. And most importantly, it's also have the highest probability of reaching your family dreams while living out a financially successful life. So basically, this is what financial literacy entails, Valentino.
Thank you. You don't want to gamble with your future, do you? You want to work hard for your money, and with the right financial knowledge and tools and some advanced thinking and planning, you and your family can have the best probability of reaching and maintaining your dreams. Peter, talk about the family life cycle, working cycle with the typical household. Now, it's not all typical, is it? Because we have people remarrying, we have deaths, we have other things, but a cycle of accumulation and wealth. Please share a few thoughts on this.
Yes, so we believe managing personal finance is more complicated and more important than ever. But then, as we go through life, there are phases that we go through. And so we believe we have 3 different phases that each and everyone will go through before they transition from this world. And so we believe from age 20, let's say 20 to 40, we call it the family formation accumulation phase. So this is where you are in school, you have finished your first degree, you are starting a family. So at this phase of life, there are key financial decisions you need to take. And then we have the accumulation and growing phases from age 40 to, let's say, 60 years. You have your fair job, you have started your own business, you have a stable family. At this phase of life, there are key financial decisions and actions you need to also consider. And then we see the third phase being from age 60 and above. So here we call it the consolidation, spending, and gifting phases. So here you want to secure your legacy. You want to pass on your values, your giftings. So at this phase 2, we believe there are key financial decisions that you need to consider. So individuals and family model working life cycle. Once you understand this, it will help you improve your financial awareness and financial literacy. And this can also help end inherited poverty. So these are the life cycles each of us go through. And at each phase of our life, there are key financial decisions that we need to consider.
And this is worldwide. This is not just Poland or Ghana or United States.
Yes.
How would you benefit from using a systematic approach to managing your finances? Well, managing personal finances today is getting more complicated and more important than ever. We're living longer, but we're saving proportionately less. Financial literacy means much more than just knowing about budgeting or managing debt and putting money away for the future. It's being equipped to handle a lifetime of financial challenges, needs, changes, figuring out how to build assets, staying ahead of inflation, taking advantage of deflation, choosing wisely from constantly widening field of savings, investment, and insurance options. When it comes to finances, people are faced with more pressure and more possibilities than ever before. We can see now that having to deal with COVID, dealing with a war. The good news is that as complex as today's personal finance world is, there's no real mystery to sound personal money management. You don't need a master's degree in finance, econ, or accounting to manage your money wisely. But you do need to have a set of solid principles of organization and decision making, plus the essential smart money management tools and willingness to put this in action. Effective financial management does involve certain procedures that are not intuitive, and they're not taught in many homes or many schools. In fact, for many people, the constant bombardment of economic news, fragmented financial information, investment product advertisements are part of the problem. Information overload. How can a major obstacle to sorting out choices and making wise decisions? To save time and money and to help to better understand your finances, we developed a 6-step process, which we'll share with you shortly. This process centers around helping you to get organized, stay aware of money issues, and on making deliberate, informed choices about the way you spend, invest, instead of following your emotions and simply going with the flow. The FA Affinity Lifelong Learning symbol you see on the screen now represents the 11 essential elements in dealing with personal financial management. And it's divided into the 2 groups, as Peter mentioned momentarily ago, getting organized and financial planning. It also is a checklist for you to see how you're managing your finances. Next, we're going to share in a rapid fire an overview of what's present in each of these elements. We'll also encourage you to begin work on your own personal financial plan. As we go through this presentation and materials that we're sharing with you that you can download and use, we suggest you get a 3-hole binder and a set of 11 tabs, and begin developing your own personal financial plan with the information you'll be organizing, assembling, and planning for your future. Peter, tell us about getting organized and what this entails.
Great, Valentino. Thank you very much. So like I said earlier, financial planning, financial literacy, for us, we have 2 components for it. The first being getting financially organized before you move to the actual financial planning. So under getting organized, we want you to put your financial house in order. So this is where you manage your paperwork, original copies, digital versions. So all your financial documents, all your files, everything with regard to your financial decisions and actions, you need to manage and organize them. Then you track your net worth. Your net worth is your actual financial position, where you stand financially. And we will go into this deeper in the next slide. The third element is for you to manage your cash flow. Your cash flow is your income versus your expenditure. So you need to understand that and manage that. Once you start doing that, then you are getting yourself financially organized. And the fourth item under getting organized is for you to understand and take advantage of your employment benefits, which we call the hidden paychecks. So it is important for you to get organized and to put your financial house in order. Start by getting, yes, so you start this with your paperwork. So from the very day you were giving birth to, and I know in Ghana, you'll be given a birth certificate, and I know that is true at every country. You'll be given a birth certificate. Since that time, anytime you engage in a financial transaction, your financial document increase. And so you need to identify all your important documents. It can be identification card, your birth certificate, your password, passport, insurance policies, rent contract, tax returns. You register a vehicle, your vehicle registration, investment certificates. Organize all these important paperwork. Create a centralized location for this document and make sure you track them as and when you need to. And so some of the things you need to preview under organizing your paperwork is for you to keep a things to-do list. So make sure you have a to-do list for every task. So for example, for this meeting, you should have had a calendar that will mark this meeting into your calendar so you don't miss out on important assignments. You also need to gather and centralize your most important money-related documents. So I mentioned some of them, your tax returns, your rent contract, you purchase insurance, your insurance policies and all that. Keep them at a centralized location where you can easily get access to them. Next, you need to set up your personal filing system to hold all your other financial documents. The personal filing system can be the start of an overall housekeeping filing system or augment one you already have. So let's say if you have a filing system, you can improve on that so that you can keep all your important financial documents in place. Keep up with the key financial dates, such as income tax filing, auto registration deadlines, using your own financial planning calendar. So if you have to make some payments, you need to track all your deadlines so you don't miss out on that. Because once you miss out, you may incur some penalties on that. So it's important to keep important dates on your calendar as well. Organize your personal and family background information and data on the fact sheet. So it can be your resume, it can be your CV. You need to keep them updated. You need to keep your background information always updated. Your password, make sure you have a track of all these important digital files. It's very important. And then build and track your social capital. Build and track your social capital, because you will need some of this social capital as you walk through your professional life. So the people that you come into contact with, their emails, their contact numbers, make sure you keep track of all these important documents. It's really help when you are planning your finances. And then let me also talk about select financial advisors and financial product providers to assist you in making important decisions and implementing your financial goals. And so you need to know the financial advisors, the financial product providers that you are working with, and make sure you can create a database for them. So investment professionals within your network, insurance agents within your network, bankers within your network, lawyers within your network. Create a database for all these people and make sure you are always in touch with them, because they will help you shape your financial decisions. They will help you so you make the best decisions with regards to your personal finance. So talking about paperwork, these are some of the things I can put out. Life is always great when your paperwork is in place, Valentino.
And so, action item, get and put your financial house in order. You're never going to have more time to do this than starting right now. The next area is net worth. Do you know what you own and what you owe? Assets are what you own. They're improving lifestyle and building wealth. Liabilities, they're what you owe, debts you need to pay back. Net worth is the amount your assets exceed your liabilities or your net accumulation. You may ask, why do I need to know my net worth? Well, regardless of your financial situation, knowing your net worth can help you evaluate your financial health, track your progress, and plan for your future. A preview of what you'll want to learn in this area is learning about the different kinds of assets and liabilities, learning how you hold title to these assets and beneficiary selections, inventorying what you own and owe, determining your net worth, and then tracking this year by year. We suggest when people do their tax returns or the tax return time period, if they don't file a tax return, is to update your net worth. Businesses use financial statements to run the business, but seldom do people use financial statements to manage their finances. It's a great tool. Complete your net worth and put that in your binder. Then a year from now, update it and see how you progress. Track it year by year. You'll be very surprised at what you see. Action items, annual inventory, what you own and owe. Ask yourself, are you progressing according to your plan? How can you improve it?
And Val, so I want to ask, can you have a positive net worth statement and a negative net worth statement?
Yes.
So which one is the best?
Well, the best is a positive net worth, but many students starting out have student loan debt and personal property, and that debt may be greater than the assets they have. But hopefully within a very short period of time, that will change and continue to grow, as we saw in those life cycle and changes. Ben Franklin said, your net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. Interesting comment.
Yeah.
Peter, tell us about cash flow.
Great, Val. So cash flow is basically your income versus your expenses. So you need to ask yourself, where does your money come from? Where do you make money from? What ventures gives you money? So you need to know where your money is coming from. And then you need to also know where your money is going. What are you spending your money on? What are the expenses you make money on? So you need to understand that. And then you need to find a balance between the two. Find a balance between your income and your expenditure. So some of the questions you can ask yourself, are you tracking your income and your expenses monthly? So you need to ask yourself, am I tracking my income every month? Do I know where my income is coming from? How much do I make in a month? And then do same for your expenditure. What are the things you are spending money on? How much are you spending every month? Do you have a positive cash flow that gives you balance? So once you compare your income and your expenses, there are three things that will happen. One, your income will either be greater than your expenditure. And so that means you have a positive cash flow. Two, your income may be equal to your expenditure. That means you are not that safe. Yes. And then your income may be lower than your expenditure. That means you have a negative cash flow. So always try as much as possible to maintain a positive cash flow balance. Are you or will you be earning enough to reach your dreams? So when you're also talking about cash flow, you should be thinking about, how do I improve my earning potential? So here we can talk about multiple streams of income. If one source of income is not helping you meet your goals, you can also look at multiple streams of income. If not, what are you doing about it? So if you're not meeting your goals, this is where you find ways to earn additional income. So let's look at preview about what to learn about under cash flow. One, you need to learn about how you make and spend your money. So you need to learn about how you make money and how you spend that money. Learn about cash flow management, how you can use cost-cutting strategies to minimize your expenditure or your spending. And so if you are an impulse buying person, you may want to look at that. So now I won't buy impulsively. If you are an emotional spender, you need to also look at that. Now I won't spend emotionally. So these are some of the strategies you can use to cut down your cash flow, manage your cash flow, and then get a picture of your spending habits. You need to also understand how you spend. So get a picture of your spending habits, increase savings and reduce unnecessary expenditure. So you need to make sure you are saving all the time, increase your saving and reduce spending. Learn about debt reduction strategies. So if you have a student loan, ask yourself, how can I pay off my student loan? So this is where you learn about how you can reduce your debt. You reduce your debt under cash flow management. Introduce your children to personal finance. Yes, so I would say, because we are young people, let's introduce our family. Let's introduce our colleagues. Let's introduce the people around us. Let's introduce them to personal financial management. And then add your completed forms into your financial planning forms binder. So we spoke about paperwork. So once you come out with your cash flow statement and forms, make sure you put that into your paperwork as well. Place them at a centralized location. Now let's look at the action item. Use the cash flow planner and track your cash flow monthly. Ask yourself, how can I improve it? So we have a cash flow planner that you can actually use that to plan your cash flow. And always ask yourself, how can I improve upon my cash flow statement? If it is positive, then you need to improve upon that. If it is negative, that means it's not the best. So you need to get to positive and maintain that. Yeah.
And one more thing to add to that is globally, we're facing lots of advertisements to buy things. In the US, it's estimated that we have something like 14,000 impressions and advertisements daily of selling different things to us. Now, some of those things we need, some of those things we don't need. And many people end up spending money on things they don't need or want to impress people they don't know or like. So be careful you're not caught up into that habit of keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak.
Yeah, so there's this famous quote that says, people spend money they haven't earned to impress people they don't even like. Yeah, so we should spend on our needs instead of our wants. And then Benjamin Franklin also said something here: beware of little expenses. A small leak can sink a great ship. And so if you know about the story of Titanic, the Titanic was a big ship, but a small hole sank that entire ship. So the little expenses that you make can hinder your financial success. So we should be aware of little expenses and make sure we are managing our cash flow very well. Valentino.
No, thank you, Peter. The fourth area is dealing with employment benefits. You can consider this your hidden paycheck. Some questions to ask are, as you get your first jobs, what benefits do I receive from my employer outside of the paycheck? Many employers provide benefit packages that amount to anywhere from 5 to 40% of salaries. So in looking for jobs, that also is really powerful to compare the salary and the benefits and the future upside opportunities for you. Are you maximizing those employment benefits? worldwide, we find that a lot of people don't understand those benefits, don't use them, and actually buy products or services with after-tax dollars they could be getting with pre-tax dollars through their employer. When looking for a new job or your job starting out, compare the salary and benefits. Action items that we want to learn here. We want to deal with outlining your employment benefits, learn about your employment benefits, managing your employment benefits, and then add a summary of those benefits to your binder. Action items: annually when changing jobs or job inventory your benefits and ask yourself, how can I improve them? Excuse me here. A reward cannot be valued if it is not understood, by Phyllis Grant. And this is very true in the employment benefits area. Many times employers are trying to give you great benefits, but if you don't understand, you don't appreciate them.
Yeah.
All right. Will financial planning be your key to a secure and successful future? You don't need special talents or skills to manage your finances, but you do need a solid foundation for your future. Right now, we've given you some tools to get organized. Now let's talk about financial planning. Peter, what's a problem-solving formula that could be helpful to our viewers?
Great, Valentino. So with regards to financial planning, we have this 6 steps process on how to plan your finances. And this does not apply to only finances. It applies to every challenge that you find yourself in. So this is a problem-solving formula. So the first thing you need to do is to define your goals. So when you look at the situation, what do you want to achieve with that situation? We suggest you state your goals in a writing, and it should be concise as possible. So what you want to achieve with that goal, after the solving that problem, what is the outcome you want to attain? You need to be concise with that. You need to clearly define that. So with regards to your finances, what do you want to achieve financially? That is the first step. The second step is to gather and organize your data. Gather and organize your data. So make sure your information is organized and up to date so that your current financial position is clear, and it usually revolves around information included with net worth statements and cash flow planner. So you need to look at, what is my situation now? What is the information with regards to my financial situation? How is my cash flow statement like? How is my net worth statement like? So that information will help you. Let's say if you want to pay down your student loan, do you have enough income available? Your cash flow statement will tell you you have enough income to be able to pay down your debt. Do you have enough assets? So you need to always gather your information and also organize your data to help you make that decision. The third step is to analyze your situation. So after organizing your data and gathering your information, you need to also assess your situation. So if your situation is you need to pay down debt. Your second situation is you need to, let's say, buy a car. Which of these decisions do you want to embark on first? So analyzing your situation will help you make the best decision. So look at your current financial position. Are you meeting your goals or you are failing short? Do you see a better ways to achieve your gains or your goals? So that will also help you handle that situation, and then develop strategies. So after analyzing your situation, and sometimes you need to discuss that with your financial advisors, you need to discuss that with the professionals that you deal with. After doing that, develop strategies. I would use this to pay down my debts. I will use this to achieve this goal. So developing strategies is also very key. To identify plans that will help you reach your goals in the most efficient manner. And it should be most efficient manner. And the fifth step is for you to implement your plan. So once you develop the strategy, once you tell yourself, I need multiple streams of income, so I'm going to take on additional job or work, you need to implement that. So you need to implement your plan. And then step 6, track and monitor your progress. So I said to myself, I want to have multiple streams of income so I can increase my income. Am I on that track? Am I making progress? So check your progress on a monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual basis, depending on which of the areas of your personal finances you are addressing. So you need to track and monitor your progress. So once you use this step, every situation you find yourself in, Valentino, I think you should be able to solve it. If you define your goals clearly, if you gather and organize your financial data, if you analyze the situation you find yourself in and discuss that with financial advisors, if you develop your strategies, implement your plan, and track and monitor your progress, I think you should be able to build a successful financial plan.
And this is true, like Peter mentioned, not only on personal finance, but for inventions, for business opportunities, for solving a problem in your community. If you define the problem and what you want to do to fix it, then go through this same process. It's the key to innovation. It's the key to informed decision making. And sometimes we're going to fail with a plan that we selected. That's why we want to track the progress. If we find it's not working, what do we do to fix it or to change it, or maybe abandon it and start over? This is a very, very important tool set. It's kind of like an athlete going through a consistent pre-shot routine before they perform. It's a methodology. Try it out, and I think you'll really like it. We've been doing a lot of talking now, so here's a little break for you. We want to get your creative juices pumping. Each of you, in front of you, draw 9 dots in 3 rows of 3. Now, take out a pencil or pen, or use your finger. Using 4 straight lines without lifting the pencil, pen, or your finger from the paper or the screen, can you touch each of the dots?
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand once you've completed it. It sounds very easy, but it's not unless you think outside of the box. That's a tip, a hint. Has anyone got it yet? This is also something fun you can have with family and friends. Okay, we're going to show you the solution now.
Yes.
Thinking outside of the box is a key element to critical thinking and to help you solve many personal challenges along with challenges of family and friends in your community. The way this can be solved is through 4 straight lines. The first line is drawing through each of the 3 dots on the left, but extending beyond the dots. The second line is going to the upper right-hand corner, covering the 2 dots. Then the third line is going across the top, and the fourth line comes back. Now, you can't do this unless you go outside the box. If you try to go inside the box, you can't do it. But outside the box, you can. Isn't that interesting?
It is. It is. Wow.
Um, how important are dealing with goals, Peter? Is this one of the key motivating factors?
Yes. So if you don't know what you won't be able to realize them. And so goals is really an important aspect of personal financial planning. And for young people like most of us on this call, wow, we have a lot of dreams. We don't have goals. So just recently, I was talking to a friend who is in the US, and I asked him to share with me 3 of his goals. And everything he said was dreams. So he had a bucket list of things he wants to achieve. So he said he wants to travel around the world. He wants to start a business. And he wants to do his masters. And these 3 things are just dreams. They are just imaginations. And so most I tell people there's a huge difference between a financial dream and a financial goal. A financial dream is something we hope for. So they are the fantasies, they are the imaginations, things we all aspire to be. But then a financial goal is something you have planned for and working towards. And so if you tell me I want to travel around the world, you're actually saving money to do that. You know how much it will cost you to travel around the world. And so before you set your goals, you need to understand the difference between a goal and a dream. And then ask yourself, what is really important to you? Where do you want to live in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? Where do you want to be financially in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? So a friend of mine said 2 years ago, he was earning 3-figure income. So at the end of the month, he get 3-figure income. So $100, $150. But now he wants to earn a 5-figure income. So he wants to improve up in his personal finance. So he has set that as a goal. Now I'm earning 3-figure, but then in 5 years' time, I want to earn 5-figure. So this is how you plan your finances. When do you want to retire from your current work? It should also be a goal. What are your gift and legacy plans? What kind of legacy do you want to leave on earth? When you are no more on earth, how do you want people to see you? What do you want people to remember you for? So when you're planning your goals, these are some of the questions you need to ask yourself and fit that into your financial goal. So it's important to write out your personal and financial goals annually, or when your situation changes, review and update them. Ask yourself if you're on track. So for example, 6 months ago, I wasn't married, but now I'm married. So my situation had changed. So I need to update my goals. So it's important for young people for us to plan and have goals. Yeah, Valentino.
The action plan here is for each of you listening, write out your personal and financial goals. And they're different. Personal with lifestyle, hobbies, interests you have. Financial is what it'll cost and what you'd like to accumulate. Annually, when your situation changes, like Peter's wedding and marriage, review your situation and update it. Ask yourself, are you on track? And if you're not, what do you need to do to improve it? Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Albert
Yes.
Einstein.
Yes, so I want to touch on this. So with this, I think you need to have the dream. So the dream is the imagination part. And then get the required knowledge to act on that to set your goals. So we all need to imagine something. We all need to have dreams, but then we should move the dreams to goals.
Absolutely. Financial independence and retirement. This is the next element that's critical. Many people, especially young people, don't think about retirement because that's way out there. But financial independence isn't. Most young people would like to at least have the same status of lifestyle as they do when they're living with their parents. So, what do you need to do to be financially independent? Having enough wealth so you don't have to go to work. That doesn't mean you don't work. It means you don't have to go to work. At what age do you want to reach financial independence or retirement? When can you stop working and still maintain your lifestyle? How much wealth do you need to accumulate to accomplish this? How long can you maintain your lifestyle? What rate of return do you need on your assets to get rich and to maintain your personal and family goals? Do you know how long it takes to double your money from a rate of return standpoint? A fun little mathematical formula would be to divide 72 by your rate of return. So if you're able to get a 7.2% return on a savings account or an investment, it will take how many years? 10 years. Take
10 years.
72, divide it by the rate of return, and it's 10 years. What's going to be important as you plan and deal with planning for retirement and financial independence? One, you're going to need to learn the secrets of compounding and time value of money. You're going to need to learn how regular savings and investing can be an important key to your financial success and future. Going through the 6-step process for financial independence, running your numbers to understand what kind of income you're going to need at your retirement and how much capital you're going to need to accumulate to do that. What are the key principles for planning for your financial independence and retirement? As you gather and pull this information together, you want to complete those forms and that data and keep it in your forms binder under financial independence and retirement. Our action items here are to run the numbers, annual review them, and then ask yourself if you're on track to reaching those goals. If not, what adjustments need to be taken? Here's a question for you. Would you rather have right now a check from Peter for $1 million US or a check from Peter for a penny doubled every day for the next 31 days? Which check would you take? The check for the $1 million or a check for a penny doubled every day for the next 31 days? Now,
so Val, Prof. Beata, I want to sign some checks for your students. So the option 1 is for them to pick a check for $1 million. Option 2 is for them to pick a check for a penny double each day for 31 days. Yeah, so we will send a check to you, so you give it to them. So they have to choose.
Would you ask them that in Polish?
Okay,
so
I can see in the chat box, people are choosing their numbers.
Beata, you're muted. Could you repeat that in Polish? It's still muted.
Yes, I speak, but I
You're
unmute
good
myself.
now.
Yes.
You're good now.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I repeat in Polish language, but they give you the answer in English also on the chat if you see. They understand what you say and give you the answer for the question. For most of them is for me one.
And you know, we've asked this question.
Some of them said 2. Victor said 2.
Yes.
Excellent.
But most of them say 1.
Now, we asked this question for a graduating class of law school students at a predominant law school in the United States, and 70% said one. They said, I would like the $1 million, and so that would pay off my student loan, it would buy me a car, and I could open up my practice. But guess what? Take a look at this slide. A penny doubled every day at 31 days is almost $11 million versus $1 million. The compounding element here, this is a very important element to learn and understand, the power of time value, money, and compounding. And we saw this in a real world experience recently too, didn't we, with COVID? First, a couple people had it, then a couple more, and that doubled and it doubled and it doubled. And pretty soon the world was infected. This compounding is very, very important as to savings and to what you're doing in the future. If people would understand this, it can make a world of difference in their lives. People don't understand this essential principle, usually don't understand the important details behind a student loan, credit card debt, a home mortgage, planning, saving, and investing for their future. They also don't realize that they can give up a simple daily item, like a cup of coffee. In the US, when I was a young person, coffee was like 25 cents for a cup and you got refills for free. Now you can spend $3 or more for a cup of coffee. Many people have multiple coffees each day. If you could save that $3 a day for the latte for the next 45 years, you know, when you reach retirement, you could have almost $1 million extra. What would you do with an additional $1 million? Would that make a world of difference for you? For many people, it would.
Yes, yes. So that means money, saving and investing even a little can make a huge difference over time.
Running your numbers for financial independence and retirement is not an easy task. It's easier said than done. Here is an area that you need to have the right software and tools to run and look at these numbers. On the screen, we have an example of such a calculator. This is a calculator that is shared openly by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. And if you click on the link here, you can actually see this calculator and a collection of other calculators. This is done in US, but it'll give you a good idea. It also is in dollars. It's something that you can utilize. If you don't have such a calculator in Poland, it might be an invention and a business opportunity for you to put together. But this is an important element, and the earlier you start saving and planning for your future, the easier it becomes. Major expenditures. This is the next item. Peter, tell us about major expenditures and how to prioritize them.
Great, Val. So with some expenditures are major expenditure item. They come with huge costs. And so you can't just take money and spend on these expenditures. There should be some forward thinking. There should be some planning behind them. So you need to prioritize them and plan before you spend money on them. So these are some of the questions you can ask yourself when you are planning for your major expenditures. What are your desired or required major expenditures? Is it about you buying a new car? Is it about spending on a huge vacation? Is it about getting married? These are all huge expenditure items. So before you do them, you need to know the cost and plan towards them. Are they a need or a want, or just an impulsive reaction to an advertisement? So if you are about to spend on a major expenditure item, ask yourself, is it a need? Is it something you need? Or is it something that you desire to have? Is it a want? Or is it an advertising company that is enticing you to spend on that expenditure. So always understand your decision behind that spending, and then ask yourself if you have prioritized them. Have you prioritized that expenditure, that item that you want to spend on? And then ask yourself, let's say if you want to buy a new car, does a new car or new used car work for your plans? So look at your plans. Do I need to buy a new car, or do I need to buy a used car, a second-hand car? So ask yourself when you are taking some of these decisions. Will buying a house work within your plans, or you want to rent? You want to do a mortgage, or you want to build? These are some of the decisions you need to ask when you are prioritizing your major expenditures. And then, are you going to fund your child college cost? So you also need to think about some of the major expenditure items you will take in the future and start planning for them now. So Val, let's look at some of the previews. Learn to prioritize your major expenditures. So you need to learn to prioritize your major expenditures. Go through the 6 steps for major expenditure. So the 6-step process that we use, you need to define your goal, analyze, gather information and all that. Use that to prioritize your major expenditures. Begin or advance your major expenditure planning. So once you start planning your major expenditures, always try as much as possible to advance it. Yes, to introduce new ways, new strategies into them. And then use the essential principles of major expenditure planning. So you need to also make use of the essential principles. Like, do I need to buy a new car, or do I need to buy a new used car? So look out for things that will help you achieve the goal that you want to achieve. Now, the action item is that you need to list your desired or required major expenditures and prioritize them. So if you have 2 major expenditures, for example, you want to buy a new car, you want to buy a land, prioritize them. Which one is the most important? Which one do you want to buy first? And then start planning towards them. Develop a plan to acquire them in the best way possible, and then review regularly and ask yourself if you are on track. If not, what adjustments are required? So it's important to forward think your major expenditures and plan for them, Valentino.
And the bigger the ticket item, the more important the planning is for the ability to save more and more. So the impulse buying for big ticket items, sometimes with a little planning, can save you big money.
Yeah.
Next area is dealing with investments. Which ones are right for you? Why investing is a lifelong task. How do investments earn money? What is your risk tolerance? Which investments are right for you in your future? Are you familiar with the terms and concepts like asset class, asset allocation, diversification, investment risks, target rates of return? What's a good investment strategy for you? Things to learn about in dealing with investments is understanding the terminology and how investments earn money. Learn about investment fees and costs. Learn about target rates of return. Learn about risks and risk tolerance. Your risk tolerance is going to be different than someone else's. Learn about asset allocation, diversification, and what's best for you. And the 6-step process is a great vehicle to help you understand that. Also, developing your own personal investment policy statement and plan before you make any investments, and to begin and advance your investment planning and track and monitor your progress and use the essential principles of investment planning. And gather this information as you assemble it into your binder, into your tab sections under investments. Developing your investment policy and statement and learning about investments are your action items. Annual review, ask yourself if you're on track, and if not, what adjustments are required. There's really only 3 ways that you earn money from investments. One is from income. Your investments may produce income, which is annual earnings received from them. This can be like interest from a savings account or dividends from a stock or mutual fund, or rents from property or royalties. The second way is through growth. Your investments may increase in value, also called appreciation. Growth, examples of growth are when a stock or a mutual fund increases in value between the time you buy it and the time you sell it, or when real estate or business holdings increase in value from when you create it or buy it or to when you sell it. And the third area, and this varies from country to country, is in tax savings. Many tax policies provide incentives to put money into certain kind of investments in the form of write-offs or credits or charitable deductions or tax-free income. The combination of these three are your return. Utilize that knowledge as you look into the investments, and also understand the investment laws regarding taxation. They can be a big subtraction or an advantage for you. Here's a quick graph on an allocation for assets, breaking assets in different classes into allocations so you can diversify assets, dealing with investment risks and target returns. Putting together an investment policy statement and form. We have a form to help you guide through this that we'll share with you shortly. And this starts by defining your investment goals, your target rates of return, your assumptions for inflation, your time horizon, defining the acceptable investment types for you or for you and your family. Defining your personal involvement. Are you going to work with these investments and put energy into it, or are you just going to place the investment and forget about it? Define your criteria for investments and asset allocations, the amount of liquid cash you need to keep, the maximum percentage of any investment asset in any one particular investment, the date for it to be reevaluated. Craft your investment policy and statement and plan, a critical first step in dealing with investments. Be patient. If a get-rich-quick scheme seems to be too good to be true, it probably is. Be careful. What about taxes, Peter?
Great, Val. So there are two things that are certain in life. We will all die, and we will all pay taxes. Yes. And so it's important to also understand and plan your taxes. And it varies from countries to countries. So the tax system in Ghana may be different from the tax system in Poland. And so you need to understand that and use that to your advantage. So taxes are an universal part of life, like I said. So ask yourself, are you paying more than your fair share? So you need to understand the taxes that you need to pay, your tax liability, and ask yourself if you are paying according to what the state is asking you to pay. What opportunities do you have for minimizing tax obligations? And so in Ghana, if you are a young graduate or a young entrepreneur, there are avenues where you can get tax rebates. So if you start a new business, you have tax exemption for 5 years as a young entrepreneur. And so if you have this idea, if you have this understanding, you won't pay taxes as a new startup or a young entrepreneur. And so we need to understand the tax obligations, the tax system in our country, and leverage that to build our financial plan. Can tax planning really save you money? So you need to ask yourself if tax planning can also save you money. So like I said, if you're a young entrepreneur here in Ghana, tax planning can save you money in the sense that if you understand that as a young entrepreneur, I don't need to pay tax for 5 years. I have tax exemption for 5 years. Then you won't go and pay tax. You will leverage that to reduce your tax obligations. So it's important for us to understand the tax system and leverage that to build what? always ask this question: what are the tax consequences of this transaction? So every transaction that you are about to engage in, ask yourself, what are the tax consequences? What will be the effect? What will be the tax on that transaction before completing that? So some action item, you need to run your tax calculation before year end and ask yourself if you are on track to reaching your goals. And mostly, we file most of our tax during the month of April. That will also differ from countries to countries. So you need to understand that and make sure you don't default on tax payments, else the revenue authority will come after you. So it's important, if you are starting a new business, you need to understand the tax system. Every engagement that you are in, there are tax consequences. So you need to understand that and then use that to plan your finances. If not, what adjustments are required? So Val, this is what we need to
Excellent, Peter.
understand with regards to tax planning.
And one point here is taxes, which we all pay worldwide, are taxes from our government to run our countries better, to provide goods and services for the people, to provide infrastructure, to help build the economy and to build wealth of the people. If we don't like the tax policy, then we need to elect different officials to help change the rules. We need to bring this to people's attention. Paying taxes is good to live in the country, but there's no rule that we've seen anywhere where you have to tip the tax collector. Tax planning is done legally is very good. The 10th area is dealing with insurance and risk management and managing what you can't afford to lose. Do you understand your risk management? What can you afford to lose? Do you need life insurance? How much? Are you paying too much for car insurance? What does your property insurance not cover? Do you have too much or too little insurance? What are the various kinds of insurances to consider? The area that we want to learn about here is the different kinds of insurance and risk management. Use the 6-step process to help you understand your risk management planning and to summarize your policies annually to make sure you're getting the coverage that you want or that you need to get when you can afford it. Again, you want to track and monitor the progress here and to outline these forms and keep them in your binder. So the action plan here, outline your insurance policies annually, review and adjust them several months before they're renewed or changed, and ask yourself, are you managing your risks effectively? The last area covered under the affinity sign, and one of the most ignored worldwide, is dealing with estate and gift planning. Everyone needs an estate and gift plan. Do you have one? If you don't, the government has one for you. Do you have an up-to-date estate and gift plan to protect you and your family? Does your family have one to protect them and their children? Do you have the proper legal documents? When you die, what will happen to your assets based on your particular situation? What happens to your assets should you get COVID and are hospitalized? If you're a business owner, who runs your business? If you're a student, who pays your bills? What happens if your parents pass away and there's minor children? Who takes care of them? How can we tactfully find out if mom or dad have an estate plan? Does it make sense to create a trust? A trust is a document we understand is not available in Poland, yet in many parts of the world it is. Why isn't it available in Poland? And could that be a beneficial tool for Polish citizens to use in the future? How can we make a lasting difference? The key elements in estate planning are to learn about the process, use the 6 steps to help understand and get your estate plan together, outline your estate planning goals. What do you want to have happen when you pass away with your assets? What do you want to happen if you get sick? Who would manage your affairs for you till you recover? Here again, we want to capture this data and put it in your financial planning binder, and use this as a tool for going forward.
Yeah.
Estate planning processes vary from country to country. We have a slide here for you that shares what happens in Poland by default. If you have no will and no estate plan, who gets what? This is what happens if you were to die without a will and have a spouse and a child. The deceased children and spouses are, by virtue of law, first in line to inherit. They inherit in equal parts. However, the portion inherited by the spouse cannot be less than 1/4 of the entire estate. It should be noted that the provisions on calling on succession under the law do not apply to a deceased person's legally separated spouse. If the deceased children die before the succession is opened, the child share in the inheritance passed to their children in equal parts. This is a very complicated area and requires specific, appropriate legal guidance for everyone's unique situation, and a very, very important element in personal finance. The only person that doesn't need an estate and gift plan is one who lives forever.
Wow.
Do you know everyone has an estate and gift plan, the one the government provided for you, or the ones you can create for yourself and your family?
Mhm.
Now, we've covered a lot of territory today, and we hoped not to confuse you or intimidate you, but to motivate you to learn more about your personal finances and to begin developing your own personal financial plan. A question for you. After receiving this brief introduction to these various elements of personal finance, what do you think? Should everyone develop and keep a current personal financial estate and gift plan? Question, what do you think?
Yes, it's very important.
Excellent. And did we give some good motivation to help you get started? We want you to be successful and have a great career in life. And that leads to one more bonus slide that we have for you. Today, we talked about personal financial management, personal money management, and the importance of this. This is a life skill that is commonly not taught at home and around the world, and a very, very important one. We also see that in sharing this globally, that there are many other important life skills that also aren't taught in home and school. We'd like to share a couple of those with you and motivate you to put this on your list to learn more about. One is problem solving, making things better. We've shared the 6-step process, which you can use for innovation, for invention, as well as conflict and any kind of problem solving. Collaboration, working together. None of us can do what we need to do in our complex world today by ourselves. We need a team. If you're starting a business, you need a team of colleagues to be able to grow that business. Or you find it just becomes a service and it's you serving people, and the growth potential is very limited. Creativity, thinking outside the box. You guys are very bright, very intelligent. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. You need to use that creativity to help make this a better world for all of us. And having a neutral mind, open to see the big picture, both the positive and negative. With all the fake news and propaganda that we're all shared with today, and because of technology, this is accelerating, we have to find out what is real and what's not. And that's coming from a neutral mind. If someone has a different vantage point than you do, that's different than your thinking, listen to them and see if there's validity to it. You approach things with a neutral mind to make things better. And ethics, doing the right thing, doing no harm. Any action that we take, are we hurting someone to do that? There's a number of financial advisors that encourage an investment approach to take advantage of people's ignorance, basically steal from them. That's not ethical. That's not the right way of doing things.
Yeah.
Doing things with no harm is very important. And as Peter mentioned earlier, building social capital. You guys have such a great opportunity today with your cell phones and the internet and social media to build a social network that's very powerful. In my generation, we traded business cards and we were kept more isolated. Today,
Yeah.
I would advise students to meet everyone in their school, get to know them. Some of those students are going to go on and be leaders in industry. They're going to be leaders in government. They're going to be innovators. The better your social capital is, the better it is for you to connect and share your information and knowledge with others. And being capitalistic is not just making money for yourself. It's making a better world, making a better economy. It's not a world whoever has the most toys wins. It's a better world if everyone can live a right, balanced life. Leadership, taking responsibility. Our political leaders need to be responsible. They need to be educated in some of these life skills. Many of them are making biased decisions because they don't have the background. Be proactive listeners and effective communicators. Just talking, make sure people can understand what you're saying. And if people are speaking to you and you don't understand, ask them to say it a different way. And for each of you starting out, acing your job interview and crafting a winning resume, very important. This relies on good communication skills and also writing skills. Hope this can be helpful for you. We do have a couple of special gifts for you. Peter, share what we've got in store for our audience.
Great. So yes, so we have the 12-month financial fitness calendar. So you can get its access on the slides will be shared with you. So you can click on the link and download the 12-month financial fitness calendar. You can also go to our website, cfleafrica.org. So let me put that on the chat, but cfleafrica.org. So when you go on the website, you can see on the personal finance knowledge section, you can get access to some of this information. We also have it on the Financial Awareness Foundation website. You can also get access to these materials. The second material we want to share with you is the TFAF Personal Finance Publication Set. So this is in 3. We have your financial partner overview, and then we have your financial partner guidebook, a personal financial management system and form set. And then we have your estate and gifts planning organizer, the lifelong planning tool. So these 3 books are also available on our website, cfle.org. You can also get it on the Financial Awareness Foundation website. These are free for you. Download them, read them, and come back and ask questions. Yes, if you have any questions, you can always get back to us and ask these questions, and we will be glad to answer your questions. We also have an amazing movement which is happening across 4 continents, the Improving Financial Awareness and Financial Literacy movement. We are operating in the US, we are in Africa, almost 12 countries in Africa. We are in Asia, India, and China, and we are in Brazil as well. And so we just entered Europe, and we are doing that with Prof. Beata. So we want a lot of you on board. Let's all come on board. Let's all promote financial literacy. Financial literacy is really an important life skill that we want each and everyone to get access to. So we want you on board. Get in touch with Prof. and let's all come together and promote financial literacy in Poland. There are fun ways you can participate in the movement. Valentino has shared a link on the chat box. You can come on board, share this information with your family, share it with your friends, your colleagues, people that you are in classes with. Let everyone come on board, and together let's all promote financial literacy. Yeah.
We've covered a
So
lot of
thank you so much.
materials today.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of materials today. If you have any questions, we're glad to respond to them. We're glad to come back if you'd like another presentation to answer questions that were learned in the materials. We thank Professor Beata so much for giving us the opportunity to meet you and to share with you.
Thank you, Valentino, and thank you, Peter. It was amazing presentation and a lot of very important information. Thank you for the materials which you sent us. It was huge knowledge for how to improve our financial and management. But this is not end yet. Julia have a question. This is the question at the chat. I want to add that I think this lecture was very interesting and everybody learned something important. And some 7 people say the same. Małgorzata, Karina, Kasper, Bartłomiej, Natalia, Zuzanna, Olivia, Maja, Martyna, Julia, they all would like to say this was really, really important for them, and we are so grateful. But dear my students, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask our presenters. They have a huge knowledge, and I hope with pleasure they will share their knowledge with you. If you have any, please send via chat, or if you want to ask using a voice, please welcome.
We could also set up, if this is of interest, a WhatsApp discussion group to share questions and knowledge and information. And if you have interest in meeting students around the world, we are creating a discussion group to do the same. So we really wish you all good health and much success and all the very best always. Thank you.
Thank you. We wish you the same.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's Julia have a question. May I have a question? She sent a question by Polish. I will read and translate. Oh, she asked about the presentation. It's possible to see again this presentation. She said maybe it was maybe you said about this, but maybe she didn't understood. But for her will be a pleasure if will be possible to have this presentation. For example, in some place, for example, in Teams, when we have all the presentation with the lecture, it would be nice to have it.
We're having the presentation recorded. We'll provide you with the recording when we're through. We'll also provide a PDF of all the slides so that you can see the presentation. And again, the presentation could be translated in Google, both the audio part and the downloads. All the links that we've shared, you can click on the PDF and go to that location. You can download those and then put it into Google Translate and translate it into Polish or other languages. So,
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I would like to see it after again.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's anybody who want to say something or add something or send a questions? Karina said that everything was clear. Say thank you. It's anybody would like to ask about something, is the last chance. Last question and last chance.
So I have a request. If all of us can put our videos on